Hey, ho, 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 Merry Christmas, you filthy animals. Welcome to the BoxCast podcast. I'm Gary.
And I'm Josh.
And over in the far left corner of the nowhere Narnia is Wade.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Wade, how is it over there in Narnia?
It is, you know what? It's all right. I like producing over here. I'm glad you guys can kind of see the back end of what goes on here at the podcast. But yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah.
We miss you over here. It just doesn't feel the same.
We?
It smells different. But
Do we miss him?
No, I don't think we do.
I mean, you were over here a minute ago going, ooh, look at the elbow room I got, son.
I know.
Like,
I don't have to worry about being tight up against somebody anymore.
Well, yeah, no, it happens, buddy. So, well, this is our Christmas holiday episode.
Woo!
We are so excited to have you guys here with us. I'm going to make as many Christmas references as I can today. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, but you celebrate holidays, happy holidays to you. If you don't celebrate the holidays, happy whatever day it is you're listening and watching this. Because you should celebrate every day. Because every day
you really should. And we hope you enjoy our beautiful decorations that Gary put up this morning.
Yeah, it was like my half hour
festive.
of festivities. And then, of course, our Charlie Brown Christmas tree that's not really Charlie Brown because I put lights on
I
it.
love the decorations, guys. I think they look great,
Dude,
especially on this wide shot.
And you guys can't smell it, but it smells like spice and pine and cookies and all the Christmas things. So it's really nice.
That's my deodorant. It's called Christmas Spice.
Oh,
You like
okay.
it?
Yeah, it smells
It's good
great.
stuff. Well, for our Christmas holiday episode, we wanted to bring in. We're going to talk a little bit about some light stuff. We got some good things to talk about today, and I know we're going to probably close out with what our favorite holiday traditions are, Christmas traditions are. I've got a doozy for you, buddy.
Oh, I can't wait.
It's going to be awesome. But in the meantime, today we're going to be talking to you and discussing just between Josh and I, and maybe Wade if he decides to chime in from time to time.
He's allowed to talk every now and then.
Well, we didn't let Kevin talk.
That's true. Yeah, we're giving him a lot of power.
I know. I'll chime in when I deem it necessary.
Deem it necessary. That's perfect.
When I have to
love it.
correct Josh.
Yeah, mostly.
So we were talking pre-show, and we were discussing some of the things that we wanted to make sure that we highlighted and talked about. And one of those was we've given you plenty of tips as to how to be a good live streamer. We didn't want to hit the same topic over again, but we decided to take a little bit more of a spin with it and talk more about holiday events. Those major events like Christmas. I don't know. I wish I could live stream my Thanksgiving dinner, honestly. I wish I would.
Oh, wow.
That'd be a little weird, though. But
a food cam?
a food cam? Oh, that'd be cool.
Yeah.
Like a little chest body cam. You can see me pulling out. I'm sorry, it's getting weird. But we wanted to discuss a little bit about those holiday events. You know, you got Christmas, you've got Easter, the two probably biggest holidays of the year for many organizations.
Yeah. And it's stressful.
It is very stressful. And if you're live streaming, St. Patrick's Day, that's always a big one too for people. That was a joke, Josh.
I'm never.
Hey, there might be people
I
that
was
stream some
thinking about-
parades or something.
Maybe
like
the
that.
parades, yeah, but I don't know. Do people have St. Patrick's Day parties at their house?
I would
St. Patrick's Day can go a lot of different ways.
I think it could too. Although, I mean, I'd be interested, Sweetest Day. Does anybody stream Sweetest Day? That's not really a big holiday, is it?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
I don't
Maybe
think so.
4th of July fireworks.
Oh, that's a good one.
I've streamed fireworks before. That's difficult, right?
You've been that dad in the,
I have been
in the
that dad.
audience. It's like, hey.
And you can't see anybody because it's
Can you see what
pitch
I'm doing?
black. They got
Yeah.
that one light in the corner from the house that's on the backside. It's
Yeah.
illuminating the entire driveway, but yet
Yeah.
you still can't see anything.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, that's me. So, I, as many of our listeners and viewers know, I work with a church organization, doing everything from live streaming, audio production, helping out in that direction. And
And you've got all the hustle and bustle that comes with that time of year, and I'm sure it's one of the biggest events of the year for you.
it's crazy.
I'm sure the complexity is just very different than your typical Sunday or Wednesday or
Yeah, well, you got to think about in the holidays season, many houses of worship are doing multiple services in a week or in one
Yeah.
short period of a week. Multiple services, churches, organizations, houses of worship are doing plays or they're doing some sort of Christmas production.
Yeah.
Yeah, Gary, I once had I was on support, and I once had someone describe kind of the holiday season as the Super Bowl for their house of worship.
Oh, that's great
And they
analogy.
kind of that's again, they were I think asking questions about are you guys prepared to handle
This.
this? Are you guys ready? Are your servers ready? Everyone's gonna be streaming more. I just want to make sure, and I think they ended it with, this is the Super Bowl for us. We
Yeah.
need to make sure this is done well.
Yeah, I mean, Christmas, okay, so I would agree with the statement that it's like the Super Bowl. I think Super Bowl weekend is Easter for houses of worship.
Sure.
Yeah.
You know, depending on what religion you are, you have other different holidays that would be considered Super Bowl. But you know, for our church, Easter, Super Bowl. Pro Hall of Fame would be Christmas.
That makes sense.
That's fair.
Which the Browns will never get to.
Whoa.
What? Any Brown?
I don't know. Maybe not. Wade probably can answer that question better than I could. But it's very stressful. Like I know that right now, like a week prior to Thanksgiving, it's literally go all the way up till New Year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we have something scheduled every week in between, and then every Sunday there's a particular, like, we're doing a different lighting show. The kids are coming up and they're doing their their Christmas sing along, or maybe if you're a little more older of a church, or you've got a little more liturgical style of church, you're doing like you've got all the hymns and handbells are being done, right? I mean, I don't know if you guys have ever seen them handbells. Those things are dope though, because they're like super cool when you ring them. But it's like you got all these production things that you have to do. So I can tell you just from firsthand experience, organization is key.
Mm-hmm.
Like knowing what you're going to stream, when you're going to stream it, who's where, how many mics you need to have set up. Because we have a Christmas production every year for our kids. That is a nightmare. I'm just going to be honest. And if you're watching this and listening to it, whether it be on Facebook, YouTube, whatever platform, if you're using our BoxCast.tv link, seriously, put something down in a comment there, or just make a comment about what you guys experience throughout the entire holiday season, because I think you could relate with me that if you have a Christmas program for your kids, that could be one of the biggest nightmares ever for streaming.
What are the biggest challenges that you have to overcome, and what are some ways you've worked around that?
Well, I know that we've had to work with like Wade's voice a lot, and I'm giving you an example because Wade's got a very high tone voice.
I like to scream into the microphone.
Yeah,
so.
Wade. What most people don't know is Wade's voice is actually like 15 octaves higher than what he is right now, and so we bring him down with coffee, caffeine, and some EQing in the mixer. But like little kids, they can't control volume very well.
Oh,
and they don't, you got little Susie up there with little Emily, and they love to sing and they love to, but they just can't sing. And so they're always all out of tune, and it's always high pitched, right? So like miking children is really difficult. And if you have more than maybe say 4 or 5 children, it's even more difficult.
Well, and I feel like, Gary, correct me if I'm wrong, but as soon as you said like children can't control their voice volume, I'm sure they think like, oh, I need to talk or sing louder at this part, and then they get really quiet, and then there's just no consistency for someone who's trying to like kind of audio engineer their voice.
Yeah, trying to mix it into the house. I mean, I've had kids where we'll put up some sort of like condenser microphone in the area that's supposed to be high range, supposed to pick up really large frequencies.
Yeah,
and it won't do a thing because you got that little kid who's just like not singing into the mic or not singing at all.
Right.
Or you got you got that one boy, bless his little heart. He's ripping it, man. He is going full tilt,
like
on,
as loud as he can possibly.
Oh
be.
yeah. Oh, he's going full tilt on Jingle Bells or something that has to do with a reindeer. And it's hard. Microphoning children is probably the worst. It's probably the worst thing I ever do in audio. Or
if you can mic a terrible child singer and EQ him right, then you can do a very good vocalist.
Yeah, like if
it's a good way to test your skills.
If you can mic a Yorkie, okay, that's probably easier than miking a 5-year-old child.
Oh my.
But yeah, no, it's really hard because you got all of those different attenuations and voices and changes in the way that they do that and how they sound. And some kids just don't understand that you don't put your mouth on the microphone. Like,
I'm still learning that.
I mean, I know people who still do it. It's like, they're eating the mic. So it's really hard.
Yeah.
I would say that's one of the biggest challenges is miking kids for productions.
Right.
So a tip, just so you're aware, is invest in some pretty decent, really good ranged condenser mics. And do what's known as ringing out your room before your production.
And what does that entail?
We're talking about audio, okay? Audio in the live stream, it'll help in the live stream as well, but it'll also help in-house. So ringing out a room, and we didn't talk about this in the audio podcast because it never brought up, but ringing out the room is you set a microphone in the room. You literally increase the gain to a very high level, and you set the microphone in the middle of the room, and you pump what's known as pink noise into the room.
What does that sound like?
You know what? I will get you a demonstration of that
We'll overlay it.
Yeah,
and
we'll overlay
we'll play it right now.
Wow, that was crazy.
Yeah.
And we don't.
So pink noise, that pink noise you heard is literally, it's a frequency adjusting noise. So when you pump it into the room, the microphone picks it up. And what it does is it picks up the frequencies that are bouncing in the room, and then any of those frequencies that are rogue or wild or are just bad or could get too high, maybe your speakers aren't, really high quality, you can bring those frequencies down and kill them or squash them. They actually call the word squelching.
Oh, okay.
You can squelch them. And then that way you get a truer tone in the room with no feedback. That's the biggest problem with condenser mics that you're miking for children, like a large amount of them, is feedback.
Okay.
So that's when you get that moment where your kid speaks, and then all of a sudden the microphone picks it up, and it just keeps picking it up and keeps picking up, and then it loops it, and it feeds back.
Okay.
So ringing out your room or having a good solid EQ in the room will help tremendously when it comes to miking kids, especially on the live stream.
Yeah.
Because you will hear that sound going into the live stream, and it doesn't sound good.
Now, when you're talking about miking a children's choir, how many mics, where do you position them? How do you make that work?
That's a good question. And honestly, that's actually personal preference in a lot of areas. I'm like what I call the hover man. I like to put the mics straight from the ceiling down.
Okay.
And I like to hover them over, right? So generally when you put a mic in anywhere, fashion, it's usually in the front because most microphones have this like cardioid pattern, right?
Yep.
You can pick it up on different sides like we discussed last time.
Yep.
In a production world, especially like for live productions for like choirs and musicals, that microphone's going to pick up no matter where it's placed, but having it forward and in front and at a distance is the best production way. And I like to put them above because not only are they picking up the microphone, the voices from the person there, but they're picking up from the one behind them and the one in front of them.
That makes sense. It also seems like a great way for a kid not to just mess with it and knock it over or trip on it or anything like that.
Right, exactly. So you eliminate the possibility of tripping, and you eliminate the need to have multiple microphones at different heights in close proximity to each other because mics in close proximity can cause feedback as well.
Boom.
So that's probably, I would say, one of the worst things that I have during the holiday seasons, during the Christmas season is, and including when we're doing like kids plays, like miking children is my number one biggest pet peeve. You got that kid who just keeps touching. You're like, Johnny, listen, okay, the Lord loves you, but I don't right now, and I'll stop it. He's like touching stuff, and you're like, stop it, Johnny.
I mean, when I get mic'd up, I'm instantly tempted to just say dumb things into the microphone and like mess around with it. I think it's a natural. People are like, oh, I have a mic on me.
It is a natural thing. Well, you're also an adult, so you know how to like curb that temptation. But so miking children is hard.
What about on the live stream aspect of it?
Well, that's the thing. Like, think about if you're translating from what your audio and your video is in the house, it's going to translate into your live stream.
Mm-hmm.
And imagine like with just the live stream itself, one camera. Like our church operates on one camera.
Yeah.
So when you've got speaking parts here and you got speaking part there, and they're both supposed to be conversating back and forth, what do? Do you move the camera back and forth, left and right? I mean,
it's tough.
It's tough, right? So we developed a technique that when the kids are practicing for these plays and then these productions, they're actually practicing together.
Oh, okay.
And then when they go to do it in the rehearsal, we'll actually record and live stream the rehearsal so they can see where they're at, and then we make adjustments.
That's another nice thing about streaming. Is just having the ability to like take a look back on how you did for your practices and rehearsals. I never even thought about using streaming for that.
Yeah, it's probably one of the best techniques that we learned to try to do. Is we bring our kids in, we have the whole setting set up, the stage is all set up, the props, and then they run through it, and then that gives our production crew, like my team, just a little bit of understanding as to how the whole production is going to go.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So that way, okay, you got little Johnny coming in here, and here comes little Emily, and then they're going to meet in the middle, so we need to make sure that we catch Johnny and walk with Johnny as he comes up, if we're running one camera. If you're running two cameras, then your production style is a little bit more elevated, just a little bit.
Yeah.
Because then you can cut between the two and bring them into one and say, you guys have one. And that's where those the Hollyland, the transmitters, the microphone transmitters that we talked
Intercom?
about, the intercom
Yeah.
system. Yeah. That's where that intercom system comes in really nice that we
Yeah.
talked about a few podcasts ago.
Yeah.
As being able to communicate between your cameras. So I think when it comes to production styles with live events, like specifically holiday stuff, organization is the biggest key here.
For sure.
Knowing.
It seems like it.
It has to be.
Sorry, Josh. Gary, do you recommend people doing like simulated live or rebroadcasting
Why not?
during those times? I mean,
Yeah.
because the first thing I think of too is like how much time has to go into it for the members of your church, the volunteers, the people there. So it's like, hey, if we could all get together on 1 or 2 days versus coming in 4, 5, 6 days in a row. Would that be something? Is that something your church does? Or?
We did that one year. We're not opposed to like doing it. Like we actually had them do a full dress rehearsal. We recorded it with 2 cameras and an iPhone. Legit.
Nice.
2 cameras and an iPhone.
Yeah.
I mean, that works.
And then we just pulled the footage in and we cut it up.
That's smart.
And then we rebroadcast it.
Yeah. And you could put more, without having to worry about the pressure of it being live, put more production into it.
A little more style.
Clean it up a little more.
Yeah. But I'm going to be honest, it was the roughest thing I ever did with cutting and video.
Okay.
I'm not like the expert at it, like, YouTube.
Yeah, I guess if you're not a video editor, it'd be a little
Yeah.
tough. You'd have to kind of just do it live once, correct, and then
Right.
you could trim it in BoxCast and rebroadcast.
Yeah, you could do that. We actually, we pulled it into Final Cut and did, we just actually chopped it all up and kind of fixed the audio so it didn't sound as bad. But that was, I think that was 1.5 years ago we did that. But like doing that, yeah, absolutely. Why not? I mean, if it makes sense for you to record your event, if you can, and then rebroadcast it the night of or the 2 nights, of or whatever, go for it. But let's just go back to Josh's point from like podcasts ago. Okay, live is always better.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a little more engaging because someone usually knows when something's live. And
Well, you can tell.
You can tell, and so it's kind of exciting to know that maybe mistakes are going to be made, or it's a little more raw. You know, it's like a little more unfiltered,
It's a little more exciting.
Yeah, you're like, oh, what's going to happen?
It's like watching a Super Bowl
Is
and
it-
that
is
dude
it-
runs across the field
Yeah, exactly.
from the stands.
Yeah, I was gonna say we did a 5-day conference, and to be honest, we played like 20 videos that were just all pre-recorded, and the audience kind of started to pick up that it was recorded, and then like on day 3, one of the videos kind of got botched up, and we had to like replay it or whatever happened, but it like tricked the audience. They were like, oh, it's live, and then towards the end, everything was live, and we were making kind of some like carefully. They weren't like real mistakes, but they were just like, hey, we'd point to someone like, you're on,
Mm-hmm.
and they would be like, okay, am I up yet?
Right.
and you're like, everyone just heard you say that, but it does like,
But yeah,
but
you're
the
there.
audience, in what I was getting to is the audience in the chat was like, oh, ha ha ha, that's so funny that he said that. Like, there must really be live, and it's like, so sometimes I do agree, like, being live, even if there is a mistake, like people feel that empathy or they know it's okay.
Yeah, I always, to me, I prefer live. Especially with live, like especially if it's like a kids event for your church or something or your house, house of
Yeah.
worship. I just prefer live.
Sometimes there's less work involved too, because
There is.
We have to get it right now.
Yeah, but it's like I said, the organization thing. That's my first tip. I think I only really have 2 tips for this, but the first tip is the organization. The second tip is, please, whatever you do, make sure everything works.
Yeah.
Like
Test
it, run through the stuff. I mean, I'm serious. Like even just let's just put the live streaming just on hold for just a second. Like when you go to live stream something, everything should work prior to that.
Yeah, the live stream is just a final package
Yeah.
of all the other pieces you've put together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like the live stream is like you've got the product ready to go. You've got your PowerPoint stuff's ready to go. Your presentation stuff's ready. Your 2 cameras are linked into your your switcher. You've got all of that ready to go. You've got
exactly.
audio in there, right? You've got all these little pieces and parts to the puzzle. Let's put the puzzle together. Make sure all the pieces are there, and then let's put it in.
Yeah.
Because I cannot tell you how many times I've gone in and done a Christmas production for kids, or even just a Christmas production for like Christmas Eve, an hour-long service for Christmas Eve, and somebody has forgotten to turn on the stinking Christmas tree, or they forgot to turn on the second camera.
Yeah.
So we're getting ready to cut to it, and then you're like, really, guys? You had one job to plug the power in.
Yeah, and I was gonna say the live streaming should be the easiest.
Yeah,
part.
it should be the easiest part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It should be. And
It should be. I mean, it really should be. But
Yeah.
then But and we understand, like, guys, we do this for a living. Like, this is, we get paid the dollars, man. We balling in over here, right? We balling over here. We get paid the dollars to do this stuff. Like, you guys have your own small business where you're getting paid to do production. Like, it's your job to literally make sure every piece of that puzzle works. And you don't need to rely on something like your live streaming provider, for example, to botch it for you. You know, if anything's going to go wrong, 99% of the time, it should be the stuff that you're handling.
Yeah.
And we know it takes a lot of equipment. It takes a lot of know-how, a lot of knowledge to get this stuff done, a lot of production tools. You know, whatever you're using, Dante, you know, you're sending it over to an A10 Mini. Maybe you're putting it in through some sort of filter system, whatever. Who cares? You're doing all of this. But the thing that should work the most should be your live streaming provider.
Yeah, right.
So having those pieces and parts working prior to that is definitely my second biggest tip.
So do you guys do full dress rehearsal live productions?
Oh, yes.
Because I feel like that's the easiest way to find out what's broken.
Oh, yes. No. We put the kids through their paces, honestly. Like,
put them through their paces.
We really do. Like, you want to be a star one day, you know?
I picture, like, Gary's Christmas training camp where you're just, like, being very intense with these kids.
Actually really good. I got Snoopy there. You know, we bring Charlie Brown in a little bit. We talk about the Christmas tree and what Christmas really means to them.
That's cool.
But, no, yeah, we do put them through, we put them, I think, through 2 dress rehearsals. So one is a week prior, the one is a day before. And then the week prior, we're like just working out the kinks, making sure the audio is working properly. We got the music right. You know, people can hear it. It's in the system. It's been in live stream. It's going through. And then the one prior to the actual event, usually it's one night and it's 42 minutes long. Seriously, I'm not kidding. It's how long it is.
Wow.
One night, 42 minutes long. But the day of, we probably will private live stream 3 or 4 of those rehearsals as they do it over and over and over again. And that's so we can work out the kinks on the production side. Like I got a team who's writing down notes.
Okay.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Taking notes like when they're going to switch the camera if they're going to do it. And I think we are running 2 cameras this year for Christmas, so we can do that. So we can zoom in real quick on that and then switch the camera to the talking part and back to the full screen. So that way it adds a little more flavor to the stream, right? A little more flavor to the recording. But
that
yes,
makes sense.
Actually, yeah, we totally do it. I would recommend that, man. I mean, seriously, like if you have a production and you're live streaming or you're doing a live rehearsal of it,
just run through it.
Run through it and stream it.
Yeah. My other question for you was going to be around specifically with holiday time. Obviously, you want a lot of attendance, and things are slowly opening up again.
Mm-hmm.
So you want people to come, but then you obviously put a lot into the production so people can watch at home. How much effort do you put into promoting the service to be watched online?
Yeah, that's a good question.
And what do you do to promote that part of it compared to, like, you're saying 2 things at once. You're saying come and join us, or you're saying
if you can't make it,
you
come
can't
online.
make it. Yeah, and how do you balance that out?
All right, so I mean, we work for a live streaming production, service, right?
Yeah.
Provider. So obviously, it's like, hey, use your live streaming provider, right? We want you to be online.
Yeah.
We want you to stream the service.
Yeah.
Make people part of the experience. That's our mantra here at BoxCast. That's our motto.
But the stuff we put on is only ever live streamed.
Exactly.
We don't ever have in-person audiences.
Exactly.
So we don't really relate in that same way.
At our church, we take the stance that we prefer you to be in the seat.
Okay.
Okay. We want you to be in the seat. And if there's a circumstance or a situation that inhibits you from being in the seat, then we want you to be in your seat. So we try to make that as abundantly clear. Like, hey, join us for the live service because you get way more out of it if you're with us in person.
Right.
But you know what? In case you can't, we have this available. Right? And so we market it that same way, but we really don't. I mean, everybody that we talk to and everybody that we say, hey, we're doing these things and we're bringing people in, we don't necessarily like advertise full blown that we're live streaming.
Okay.
They just know.
Right.
Right. And I will also say this. I will preface a lot of this with the simple fact that it's 2021. And because of the pandemic, most people expect a church to live stream now.
Probably especially during holidays when they might think a ton of people are going to show up.
Or they're traveling and they want to go, whatever. Hey, I'm going to Florida to see my grandpa, but I want to go still attend my church service.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's say you got little Susie and their grandparents live in Colorado and their family lives in Florida and they're doing a production for Christmas. I mean, that's one scenario where grandma and grandpa ain't going to be making it, right? Unless they're literally making time, like they can't make it. But that also gives grandma and grandpa the opportunity to show their kid off because their family did live stream, their church did live stream it.
Right.
And so now grandma and grandpa have the ability to show, look at my kid, and they hold up their device and see the live stream.
Oh, so then this is a nerdy question,
Oh,
but
yeah.
do you notice a difference in the geo analytics, like on Christmas services compared to your average
You know
Sunday?
what? That's a good
Does
question.
anything change? Or
Yeah, we do see a lot of uptick in different areas.
okay,
Yeah, primarily the northeast region of the United States, like Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin,
okay,
those areas for us. But I would say that you would see that more common. That's probably a more common thing during the holidays. You see more people from different areas watching
got
in
it.
the area. But yeah, but like to go back to your whole question about just advertising. We have so many tools nowadays. It's really hard to determine where you want to be. And quite frankly, for me, it's pick one or two, be good and great at one or two instead of just mediocre at 5 or 6.
Man, that's a great point. Because it's so easy to be like, well, we can do it, so let's do it.
Yeah.
When you could just focus all your energy into Facebook promotion, if that's where I mean,
Yeah,
I like
throw
to
it
just
in-
be like, where's the majority of my audience paying attention?
Right, and you
and
should
put all my eggs in those baskets.
Yeah. Well, I mean, any media company in their worth their grain of salt is going to pull their analytics for their ads and say, oh, well, Google's doing better than Facebook. I think we should pour more into Google now, right?
Yeah.
So that's the whole point. Like, yes, absolutely do that. For us, Facebook is the biggest uptick for us that we see. We see a lot more engagement in Facebook. We actually see more engagement on our website, quite honestly.
Okay. That's a good
We see
thing.
a ton of engagement on our website for reviews, but Facebook's the biggest advertisement piece we have. And of course, we do door knockers and we send out flyers and, we buy the mailing list and mail it out and whatever. But
Now,
yeah,
when you do the door knockers and the flyers and things like that, do you include the live stream option?
we do have it.
Do you-
catch
do
us
you
live.
mention it?
We
Okay.
say catch us live or watch us live,
Yeah.
but it's not prominent,
All right.
right?
It's secondary to.
And every
getting
church
people
is
in
going
the
to be
door.
completely different. Every
Mhm.
house of worship, every organization, small business, government entity, whatever, they're all going to be different.
Right.
All right, but for us, we prefer, we put preference on having people in the service. We feel that in service, in person service engagement gives you the best experience, and if you can't have that, then we give you the best experience online.
Got it. Wow.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Gary. I mean, just being at your church the one time when we were filming that Sure video.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Because you run a single camera operation, and this is no knock on it, but if you were just watching it, you'd be like, okay, this is nice, and I can hear, and this is good. But when you're there and you're seeing, I remember like Tammy, one of your volunteers, was like up there, and she was like, doing this and waving back
Yeah.
and forth, and it's like emotional seeing.
Oh,
that
yeah,
stuff.
you
It's
totally-
so
yeah.
you feel so much more being
Yeah, you
there
do.
than just listening on your headphones. or
Well,
something
and
like
you get
that.
an experience.
Yep.
It's different. That's why, and I guess we can just do this now, right? Just throw the plug in for our company.
Yeah.
That's why BoxCast, I think, is a little bit different than most streaming organizations. And I'm not saying this because I work for the company. Like, I've been using BoxCast. I've used BoxCast. I've heard of BoxCast prior to us even using them. I know churches and organizations and companies that use our service and say, there's a whole point to this, that we do something different. Like, we value a viewer experience.
Mm-hmm.
We value a production experience. And because you have those two things tailored into our software and our hardware, it's really, really, really difficult not to want to use it.
I think, yeah, I agree with that. The thing I'll follow that with, because now that we're in the self-promo phase of this, I think the thing that gives me peace of mind is on like a major day, like Christmas Eve or any other big like streaming holidays.
Easter.
Yeah.
Labor Day.
The reliability of that would give me peace of mind.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh, there's not going to be too much congestion on the servers and everything's going to fall apart like you've seen it happen in the past elsewhere. And I feel like as a video person, that is like the last thing I'd want to worry about. I've got my Christmas tree going out. I've got
Yeah.
little Johnny screaming into the mic,
I love
making
that
me
kid.
yeah.
I love that kid.
Somebody just tripped across the stage. Like the quality and reliability of the streaming service is
Yeah.
probably like secondary to everything you have going on in the building.
No, it totally
I would
is.
imagine.
Well, no, it totally is.
And you guys do, you guys don't have dedicated people, right?
100% of the time,
to each
correct.
specific thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't have like camera ops, video directors, sound engineers. Like everybody kind of does a little bit of everything. That's got to be the last thing you want to think about.
And I would agree. And then Yeah. So reliability, I would actually put on there too. Yeah, I'm with you 100%. And you know what? If you're looking to stream with us and you never have, you can go to BoxCast.com. There's a free trial button. Click that button.
Give it a shot.
Roll us through your pace, man. Just give our tech support team a call. Hit that little smiley button in the bottom quarter of the dashboard. Ask for some help. We'd love to help you.
Yeah.
We wanna make you part of the experience. We want to make your viewers part of the experience. That's the cool thing. And of course, we talk about reliability a lot, and we talk about reliability with our microphones, with our audio equipment.
Yeah.
So we thank our Shure friends,
Oh yeah.
over
These
there.
are great.
We appreciate
Oh, I
all
love the
this
Shure
stuff.
mic.
These are
Microphone. Yeah, it's all aluminum casing.
very sturdy.
I told him not to use it as a hammer. I promise. Sure, we promise not to use them as hammers.
Yeah.
I've heard it's a great nutcracker. Actually,
It's a great nutcracker, right?
No, I love this Shure mic too. I know I'm over here to the side, but here I'll give you a quick little view if you're seeing visually. So we have XLR, and it's being powered by Gary's mixer. You can also plug it into your computer with USB, and you even have a headphone jack if you really want to listen in. And the one thing I will say, guys, before we move on to our next topic, because I know we've hit this one probably a little longer than expected, and I got to go back to, I love Shure. I also love BoxCast. Obviously, we work here, but to Josh's point, we say it all the time, Josh. When we use the Pro, and we use the other BoxCaster too, but we mostly use the Pro, we run that thing hard. We do 8-9 hour long events, and it is the last thing we have to worry about when we use it. It is so. It's like we are at a point where we are never scared that the stream is going to fail because we trust BoxCast that much, and it's just nice to be like, oh, we don't have to worry about the stream. When most of the time our client, that's what they're the most worried about. They're like, is it going to go live?
Yeah.
Is it going to work? Is it going to do this, that? And it's like, yes. We're just so confident that it's going to work, and it's reliability. It always does work.
Yeah, and rarely do you have an event where you have a dedicated streaming producer, somebody who's just there to monitor and polish the stream. Yeah.
Even in these
rarely do you have a streaming guy.
Yeah, exactly. Even in the big events for your holidays.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Well, let's jump back in. Let's jump into our next topic. Okay.
All right.
So enough about what I've done and what the craziness is for all of our holiday stuff at the church. Josh, I've been waiting to hear it. I want to know what love is.
Wow.
You shoot your eye out, kid. I want to discuss, just give me the best story you've got in your pocket of the most worst live streaming experience you've ever had, or the most embarrassing, a total disaster moment. Something that maybe you forgot to do, didn't do, would have wished you should have done. Give it to me, man.
Okay. I was 24, which says it all, right?
You're 26 now, right?
I'm 29. Oh, yeah.
Man, you were.
Thanks for saying that.
You were a young buck back then.
Yeah, I was 24. I got hired to be a dedicated streaming guy for a very big event in Virginia. It was just a very big conference where there was already a production company that was hired to put on all of the in-house stuff, but I got hired to be the streaming guy just to make sure, the stream worked, test the network, but I also got hired to create my own live mix for the stream. So compared to the in-house mix that goes to the iMag, I got hired to create a live switch just for the stream with, graphic overlays for the online audience, things like that.
The whole works.
Yeah, really simple. Should be a simple job, but it was in Virginia, so I had to fly there. And I don't know why in my mind at the time, but I decided to bring all of the equipment and more than I needed necessary for this production, except for the video switcher that I needed, that I got hired.
Which is your primary thing.
The thing, yeah. If I would have, the only worst thing I could have done was forget an encoder. Forget the live streaming encoder to make it go live. And I brought 3 of those because when you're traveling for work and somebody's like, you're the streaming guy, you can't just bring one encoder because who knows what could happen.
Because you're totally not the streaming guy at that point.
And whenever you take a professional hardware encoder through airport security, you always get weird looks too.
Oh, that's funny.
What is this thing? It just looks like, I don't know. It's in a hard case. It looks goofy.
Yeah.
But I take it with me on the plane because I don't want to lose it.
It's the most important thing. It's the most important thing.
Yeah, I don't want to lose it.
Outside of a switcher.
Yeah. So in my dumb young brain, I was like, just make sure you bring extra encoders, extra cables, an audio mixer, extra everything. And the only thing I didn't bring, I don't know how this happened, I didn't bring a video switcher.
Okay.
And so I'm getting on the plane, and I'm like,
You remember when you got on the plane?
ah! Yeah. As I was getting on the plane, I was like, I don't have a switcher.
You did not, dude. So
Yeah.
So he's stepping onto a Delta flight, and he's like, "Oh, I totally forgot the switcher."
Yes. So luckily, people in the production world are super nice. And this is a lesson, like in all of anything you ever produce, is just be nice to everybody. Because you never know who you're going to meet again, and you never know when someone's going to be able to help you. Just be as nice as possible.
Isn't that just a general rule?
It is.
Period.
Like, live production's
life?
stressful. Everyone knows it's stressful. Be as nice as you possibly can, because nothing is live or die, you know?
Yeah.
Life or death, I guess. And so luckily, one of the lead producers there, I was kind of explaining, like, oh, I got to figure out a way to, you know, to find a way to mix this, and I just had my head down. I forgot the switcher. And he was like, oh, he was like, would you just want to use this? And he had an ATEM TV studio in his backpack. And he let me use his switcher for
You had luck
for
on
the
your
4-day
side.
event.
Did you have your lucky rabbit's foot in your pocket? Or
I did, or something like that. Because there was no way by the time I got to Virginia was I going to be able to, like, in the daytime I had to be able to source and find something like that. But
Yeah.
he had exactly what I needed. He was really nice about it. And then till this day, we still share information about streaming back and forth, share ideas, things like that. We kind of
That's
became
funny.
friends from it. But he was just so nice, and ever since then I've been like, man, ever since I've been in that situation, anytime I see somebody in duress or they forgot something, like, I bring extra stuff now to give to people too.
Extra video switchers.
Yeah, just I bring 3 switchers for
Sometimes.
every project. Sometimes we do. So 2 things came out of that. I bring stuff for other people, and I definitely double, triple check my gear list, especially when I'm traveling.
I'm not gonna lie.
It happens to Wade and I a lot, where we're like, do we have this? Do we have that?
You guys are sitting in the car. You're 3/4 of the way there,
Yeah.
and you're like, "Oh, we forgot the."
Oh,
ATEM
I've
switcher."
I've pulled over many times, 10 minutes into a ride, and been like, "Do you have memory cards? Do you have this?" Just to double check, like, the essentials.
Yeah.
Wow.
You gotta
Wow.
you gotta have some sort of mental checklist, and maybe I even, like, think through the workflow in my head. I'll, like, close my eyes and I'll be like, okay, camera's going to here, and then that cable runs that kind of cable into this device.
And
that
anybody
device.
watching him doing this in a Starbucks
And
would
then-
think that he's a mathematician. trying to
yeah,
figure out
like
the
doing
laws of
something
physics.
brilliant. But all I'm trying to figure out is, do I have my stuff?
Do I? I don't
Yeah.
know. HDMI or SDI?
Yeah, I literally think out the
SDI.
workflow, and then sometimes, if it's really complex, I just type out all the stuff I need and then check it off in my head.
I can
But-
attest to your guys' gear because, like, when we were doing the video a few months ago for the the Sheer project, wow, like, I mean, it was just box after box after box after container after container after container.
Yeah,
and I was just like,
I used to be a lot more minimalist,
okay,
and Wade hated it because I'd be like, we don't need that. Just bring the lightest amount of stuff you have. And there's something to be said for carrying around and having your equipment set be as minimalist as possible for lighter stuff. But now, ever since I've made that mistake, I'm like, for production, live production, bring everything.
oh no, yeah, you bring the kitchen
Yeah.
sink, you bring the cupboards, you
And sometimes we've been
Take
in situations where, like, we've hired a camera op and he's given us stuff, and then we've given him stuff because it's like, oh, you didn't bring that and I didn't bring this, but we all have, like, it just works out.
it's like going to a flea market.
It's a lot like that. That's a really
It's
good.
like going to a flea
It
market,
is.
man. It's great. No, well, I mean, that's the whole point of it,
It
right? I mean,
is.
that's the production realm. Wade, your turn.
Oh, I have a pretty relevant one to streaming. So Josh and I, if you've listened to the podcast or heard us talk about it before, we used to stream MMA fights, and this was maybe like our 3rd or 4th MMA fight, and this was like, we got our confidence up. One of, like, the first events we ever streamed was MMA. We had no idea what we were doing. We didn't know anything. But this one, we were like, oh, we know what to do. We're going to
still
stand
trying
on
to
the
figure it
cage.
out, guys.
We tested internet. The internet's good. We're selling tickets. This is going to be great. So we get down to Akron. It's about an hour away from Cleveland. And we're setting everything up, and we're like, let's test the internet. All of a sudden, I'm like, hey, Josh, did you bring the box? Cut to Josh's camera.
No, man.
Me? Okay, let me check the car. So we're, like, checking the car and everything, and we didn't have the box. So I called my roommate, and I was like, hey, man, like, can you run up to my room and just see if there's, like, this white, because the BoxCasters used to come in this, like, white cylinder. I'll try to find it. Like, not cylinder, this, like, white box. And he's like, yeah, it's here, man, and there's, like, this clear thing in it. I'm like, crap. So Josh continued to set up. I had to run up back up to Cleveland, get back just in time, and the event did go well. I mean, Josh got blood on him from the MMA fighters at event.
That was pretty cool.
Kind of gross, but
that was the dopest thing ever.
I couldn't think of something that was like catastrophic, like besides like an ATEM mini capture card, like the capture card part not really working. But yeah, forgetting your live streaming encoder when your only job is to live stream, definitely sucked. But we made it work. And again, that probably goes back to why now when we go to events, I think we have like the pro with us, and then we have like two other BoxCasters that are just like the clear HDSD2s that we have in our cases that are ready to go if we need them.
And if that doesn't work out, bring a capture card and a laptop, and then maybe you can get some sort
of, you could use OBS
or something running through.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
So Gary, tell us.
Seem to be forgetful.
We have gotten so much better.
Sometimes I feel like what happens is you're thinking about a lot of things. You're thinking of, like, if you're bringing all the gear and you're not the dedicated this guy or whatever, if you're bringing all the gear, you're also worried about lenses and cabling and stuff. Yeah, but,
So,
it's just
Gary,
totally good.
pre-podcast, Gary was telling us a pretty interesting story about his fail. He didn't finish it, but you said it was something about a funeral, and I've been thinking this whole time, like, I need to hear this
He's
story.
Got like 15 things in his head right now.
Let it rip, man. What was your biggest fail at this funeral, I guess?
So we had it wasn't at a church. It was just I'm trying to help a few friends out who are in the live streaming world, and part of streaming is like, especially within the pandemic. By the way, this is pre-pandemic, like pre-pandemic. Is you got to bring closure to people in situations like funerals, right? That's what funerals do. They bring closure. You celebrate a life, and you bring closure to the family. It's that moment where things start to actually come to fruition in their head. And so you got to bring comfort into that. And I get a call from the friend who I'm trying to help get everything situated for his live streaming event, and they're doing a funeral. And he asked me some advice about how to go about like explaining to family like some things just aren't doable.
Yeah.
Right? And not because you can't physically do it, but because you just probably shouldn't do it. And so the family wanted to have a live stream. And they wanted to put a camera in with their family member.
In the casket?
Yeah.
Like a POV?
Yeah. Looking up at people as they came in.
Oh
my. And the reason it's an embarrassing it's an embarrassing and stressful moment because it's not like the worst fail ever. It's not like the most disastrous thing ever, right? But it is one of those like, really?
Yeah.
So,
and do you want to get that close to the? My first thought is like, I don't think I should be held accountable to getting this close to this person.
Well, the funny thing is this friend of mine, he's in the process of actually considering doing it. And so you have to talk him off a ledge, first off. And then he wants to know, how does he let the family know how to do this? And that was a whole nother conversation. It's just, that's one of the things to me, it's not the worst thing that's ever happened. But it's definitely the most awkward and embarrassing, and it's one of the most difficult to explain.
So what did you end up doing?
He ended up not doing it.
Yeah.
He recommended to the family for privacy reasons that maybe they shouldn't do that. And he's like, I don't want to forget my camera in there either.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
So they didn't end up doing it. So instead they put a camera behind the casket.
I was just about to say, if I got hit with that request, I'd be like, camera to the side or behind it.
They went behind the casket and they shot forward as family members, and people came to visit and say they're pay their final respects. But that's tough, man. I always remember that story because then when I like have those moments and I'm like, ooh, dude, we should do this. And then I think about that, it's like, we should not do that.
Yeah,
it's like one of those,
just
one of those reminder moments that you just because you could possibly do it, maybe it's not the best of ideas.
You know what else is hard too in those situations? Like, I feel like that's probably pretty universally understood, is tempering expectations with technical stuff. Because people were just like, they look at you. This happens to Wade and I a lot. They're like, you're the tech guy, so you can do anything. Yeah, like, we know you. we see all your gear. We assume that you're basically a one-man
Oh,
band.
you're a wizard.
Yeah, you're a wizard, and you could basically produce the Super Bowl
Do
right
it.
now.
Yeah, totally do it. Listen, you
And
got
it's
some
really hard in the moment to be like,
flying jibs.
oh yeah, you didn't contract us for that, or that wasn't in the plan. And like sometimes you can. Sometimes if you're close with the client, you have a good relationship with them, or you're close with the person requesting it, you'd be like, you know what? I'll just swap this, do that.
Yeah,
we'll
let's move
make
the
it
camera
work.
this way, and we'll make it a little
We'll
bit
just
better
make
or
it
different,
work.
right.
Like we do that. We have jobs like that where we're like, whatever, this is part of the culture of the organization. Let's just go with it.
Right.
But then other times you're like, no, dude, I'm already set up this way. I can't just like blow everything up.
Yeah.
We're about to go live in 5 minutes.
Right. Yeah, no. For that request, it was the most difficult for me to help answer. Like I said, it wasn't me directly, but it's definitely, secondhand, but it's like, really? Like, how do you what? So maybe we shouldn't do that.
Well, that's a weird one, Gary.
Maybe we should.
That's a
I know
weird
it's
one.
weird. So, well, hey, let's move on. Last question. I think we're just gonna jump to the end because we're running out of time here. But because this is our holiday Christmas episode, this is one of my favorite times of the year. I think a lot of people like this time of year, right? I
Yeah.
mean, most people do. It was my dad's favorite time of year. He loved Christmas because it meant he got to see joy on our faces, and we got all the family together. So, good, bad, indifferent, weird, crazy, fun, whatever it is, I just want you to conjure up one holiday tradition that you absolutely continuously do or love to do, one Christmas thing that you do.
Yeah. My family tradition every year is to go get Christmas trees together
Oh, that's cool.
at a giant Christmas tree farm. And I think it's my favorite thing because it's active and a little bit, outdoorsy.
Yeah.
And I don't like being stuck inside a lot.
Because you're an outdoorsy guy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's fun to like pick out a tree and to like it's weird how analytical my family gets. Like oh, it's not proportional.
This one's
Oh,
too large.
Yeah, the back of it looks weird.
Judy, I found one, but its
Yeah.
branches are way too long.
Like I could spend hours like finding the right tree.
Really?
Yeah.
So are you like the Clark W. Griswold kind of people? You go out into the forest and
Yeah.
saw it down?
Yeah, we like cut it down and we sled it back.
Right. Driving underneath
Yeah.
the semi and back again.
Yeah. And I have like a little 2-year-old daughter now, so it's really cool to see her like
Yeah.
wandering around like, what is going on?
What are
So
these
it's-
green things?
Yeah, it's really fun to do that together.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And it smells great. I love the smell of a freshly cut Christmas tree.
Oh, yeah. They're
That
awesome.
Tiny,
It's a good thing you don't have carpet downstairs for when it's time to get rid of that Christmas tree.
I know. It's planned that way.
How many times you got to run them?
Every day.
Every
pretty
day,
much.
buddy.
Yeah.
Every day. Wait, let's hear it.
This question was asked earlier and I couldn't think anything. I was gonna say cutting down the Christmas tree, with my fiance and her daughter. That is fun. We go the day after Thanksgiving.
Ooh, that's
and
cool.
I do like decorating the house and stuff like that. But I'm gonna be honest, I sparked it in this moment. So what me and my family do, this is gonna be super untraditional, but I'm just being completely honest.
I love
A
those
lot-
holidays.
A lot of my family doesn't live in Cleveland, so they live
A
in
little
like
nervous.
they live like a couple hours away, and we don't usually travel to go see them because of work, and my parents, what they do is a little busy. So for holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and stuff, we go to the casino and we go and we gamble and we have fun, and it's usually just me, my mom, my dad. I don't have any siblings or anything, and I said I was going to be honest, and now my fiance, I kind of got her into it, and we take her to the casino.
A little grambling.
A little grambling on my holidays, but it's just something we all enjoy, and I know it's it's not your normal Christmas, but it's amazing when we go on Christmas Day. It is truly amazing to see how busy the casino is. You're like, oh, you're going to be the only ones there. It's like, nope, casino is packed. So I'm not the only one who does that, I guess.
Is there a Christmas tree there at least?
I don't know. I think so. There has to
doesn't
be
know.
Christmas decorations.
I'm
I love that, Wade.
I'm speechless.
That's so
I'm just
Wade.
telling you guys the truth.
That's great because the truth is
If
always
you've gotten
on
this
point.
far, you get the truth out of me in this
Hey,
podcast.
He's with family.
Yeah, he's with family. Like, do you
They're
guys
sharing memories.
Can I just is it like a little awkward at least? Like, do you guys make it awkward? Like, do you go like in your plaid pajamas, all matching?
Oh no, we don't dress up or anything. It's definitely not. It's like the highlight of my
See,
day. Like we'll eat dinner and then it's like 6:30 and it's like let's go to the
cool. I mean,
casino.
you're doing something awesome as a family. If that's a tradition, you guys are just going out and doing
I
something.
think that's part of it.
Yeah,
is
I
being
think
together.
that's great. It's just being together.
Right.
I just was thinking maybe I'd jazz it up a little bit in this year. Like y'all should just totally go and
Like matching PJs. Yeah.
That's a good idea.
All right. I'll
Maybe
throw the
some
idea out there.
slippers.
Maybe some
like
slippers.
you just woke up in the casino that morning.
Right.
And you're like, oh.
Right. Yeah. You guys got your your Grinch coffee mug and
I'll like rip open the like fake presents
the
under
fake
the Christmas
gift. Like,
tree.
just sit around a slot machine that's got Christmas trees on it. Sit around the slot machine and just literally open up the gifts and just be like, oh, wait, you shouldn't have. And it's a box of quarters, just like.
It's weirdly, we've been doing it for like 4 or 5 years now.
That's
So it's
funny.
become
That's
like a
great.
weird family tradition. But yeah, I
Wow.
love it. What
I'm happy
about
for
what
you.
about you, GB?
I'm happy for you too, Wade. A little nervous for you, but I'm happy for you. We have so many different family Christmas traditions. Being pastors, we don't get to celebrate Christmas on Christmas, usually, because we are working the night before,
Oh yeah.
and we don't usually get to celebrate like all of our family together on the
thought
same
about
day
that.
because obviously we live in different parts of the country, but we have a very large extended family, and because being pastors, we don't get to celebrate. Sometimes Christmas falls on a Sunday, so you can't technically do it on Sundays. But I think outside of that, we have one big. We do have one big family Christmas. It's been a tradition lately that we all get together at one of the family's houses and we go there. But the one part of that tradition, whether it be Christmas Eve or with all the family or just by ourselves, is something my dad started. And sorry, so you had a sweet moment, right? You had a weird moment. Hey, honey, how about for Christmas I get you a casino card? I'm gonna give you a sappy moment. My dad was, without getting anything deep into it, my dad was one of the most influential people in my life because he wasn't my biological father. But he taught us so many cool things. And one of the Christmas traditions that he had as a kid and that he extended into us was that Christmas Eve, we'd all sit down. We'd all have some hot chocolate. And if I start to cry, I'm sorry because it's like hardcore for me. And he had a traditional leather-bound book copy of 'Twas the Night Before Christmas. Oh, wow. An original. And he would open it up and he would read out of it. And he'd read 'Twas the Night Before Christmas story.
Wow.
And then that night, my mom and dad would hand us a gift to open. And that would be what we'd have that evening. Now, usually the gift would be something like super small. Maybe it would have been, a new set of pajamas or a really cool bath towel that you wanted so you could take a shower or something, right? I remember getting soaps one year. It was awesome. I got all these Power Ranger soaps. It was great.
That actually sounds awesome.
It's dope, dude. But that's the biggest tradition. So now we extend that to my kid and our family.
I love that, GB.
And you read the night before
We
Christmas?
do, yeah. We do read
Wow,
the
that's
Twas the Night
cool.
Before Christmas, and then I give her the gift. Now, a lot of times, it's very difficult because we have Christmas Eve services and we have a Christmas Eve party, so it's like 1 a.m. when I'm doing it. But it's a tradition, and we love traditions, so it's one of those things. But to take this on to the end, right? It's all about being with each other.
Yeah.
It's all about being with each other. That's why I'm honored that this season of this podcast has been with two of the finest gentlemen ever. And this isn't the end. We have one more episode.
Yeah.
We're not telling you when it is because it is going to be something that we're planning out as a live episode. And we're going to have some special guests on with us. But it's been an honor and a pleasure to be able to do this with you two guys. And now it being Christmas, I'd like to extend a Merry Christmas to you.
Merry
And-
Christmas.
Hey, Merry Christmas to you too,
and
GB.
a
Yeah.
Happy New Year.
Yeah.
And I pray blessings on your families and your casino winnings.
Man, I shouldn't even have told my story after yours.
No,
that
dude,
was
your
amazing.
story is dope though, because you're like, hey, honey, I got a casino card for you. you
Yeah.
know? But I got it on Black Friday.
Well, thank you for sharing that.
Yeah,
yeah,
man,
that was
yeah.
great.
Well, BoxCast is all about making people part of the experience, whether that means you're the viewer or you're the live streamer, and whatever we can do to make those experiences better, we want to try to help, and we want to be that. And as videographers, and as an audio engineer, as podcasters, our jobs are to, work together, make this amazing, make everybody part of the experience. And so, from my family to yours, Merry Christmas, and from BoxCast family to your family, we'd all like to wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holidays.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, happy holidays.
Thanks for watching.
Absolutely.
We'll see you in the new year.